Hey, thanks for joining us today. We've got an exciting video talking about one of our favorite tax deed auction seasons for Oklahoma, one of the traditional tax deed states where you actually have no redemption on the property. And they've changed a few things this year, some exciting updates, things I think are getting a little better in Oklahoma. So we'll dive in and talk about how to find these auctions, how to buy, how to research, and of course, how to save a bunch of time doing that with Parcel Fair. So if you've been watching our channel, we've had this kind of a summer tax auction road trip series, and here's our little postcard collection so far. We did West Virginia, Alabama, and Florida coming through. And of course, like Alabama's mostly spring, but they spill into June, so it fits in with the summer theme. And then Utah, Arkansas, and today Oklahoma. I don't know where we're going next. We've had some requests for a Texas update video, so maybe we'll do that. I think Iowa's got a season that's kind of staging up right now. So if you've got any ideas where you want to see us go next, of course, we're not physically going these places. We're just we're virtually going there and showing you how to shop in these different markets. But any ideas for markets you'd like to see us cover this summer, please let us know. And all these videos, you can find them on the YouTube channel. It's where you are right now, the Parcel Fair YouTube channel. And this is the Parcel Fair software we're going to be using today. But first, let's talk about how the Oklahoma tax deed auctions work before we get into our demo here. And we're just going to start with the basics. And per state law, the counties transitioned from tax lien to tax deeds a few years ago. Why do I bring that up? Is it ancient history? Well, a lot of people, one of our most popular questions is, how do I buy tax liens in Oklahoma? And we have to tell you, you can't. The tax liens are held behind the scenes. They get issued, but they're held by the counties in the state or whoever holds them. And they're essentially private held where you can't get to them until they become tax deeds a couple years later. Then they put them out for auction in their tax resales once a year. And I guess there must be some old like tax lien training out on the internet, or maybe some of these coaches aren't updating their materials, but uh, they've been in tax deeds for many like years. I would say 5 or 6 years by now. It's not a recent change that they moved from liens to deeds. So I think things have settled nicely in Oklahoma. Don't worry about the law change here. It's not new. So yeah, they're not sold publicly until they mature to tax deeds. When they do mature to tax deeds, they go to auction and they use a premium bid format. This is the most straightforward, traditional, classic, or simple auction format you can think of, where there's an opening bid. First person starts off with the opening bid, and every bid after that bids the price up. It's that simple. So there are other states with more complicated tax lien investing auction rules, and tax deed auction rules, but not this one. The new update this year, we've always had in-person auctions, and now we've got our first ever online ones. I think the state law changed this year. I mean, the law probably changed last year, but for this year's auctions, the first three counties we've ever seen in Oklahoma having online tax deed sales in their summer June auctions, and those would be Cleveland and Rogers and Texas. Those are the three that we've seen so far. I think most of the counties have probably advertised their auction by now, so I don't know if we're going to see any more added to this list. But as of now, those three are out there. So if you do win one of these auctions, you're awarded what's called a resale deed. You would still need to clear title on this if you want to sell it on like the MLS or take out like a mortgage on it. Um, and that word resale is interesting. That resale deed comes from resale auctions, and Oklahoma is the only state I know that uses resale as the term to describe their tax deed auctions where their newly issued tax deeds are out there. Usually resale means like a things that were left over from a previous sale that came back. That's not what these are at all. These are actually the first issue of these tax deeds. So what about the unsold tax deeds? Well, this video is about auctions, but I'll go ahead and tell you we have OTCs. They're in Parcel Fair. We go scour through lists, and those leftover OTCs can be purchased directly from the county when they are available. Of course, right now we are 11 and a half months since last year's auctions, so they're kind of picked over. You're not going to find a lot this time of year. Let's briefly talk about the life cycle for Oklahoma tax deeds. If a property was tax delinquent, that October, the county will issue a tax lien. This is one of those tax liens that are held that you cannot get to. They're not public. But they hold it essentially for 2 years and 8 months until you get to the annual county tax deed auction. And if you're doing the math here, that's you're looking at basically 3 years delinquent at that point, and a tax deed has been issued or will be issued at the auction, and you're basically just paying back those liens and interest and everything in one tidy opening bid that will show you how to look at that bid today and understand what you're buying. But yeah, there's like a tax deed foreclosure process that goes through that, and then lastly, the leftovers are going to go to over-the-counter sales as unsold deeds. Some counties might opt out of this, I guess, but mostly counties want to get the revenue, so they will host a over-the-counter list on their site. Let's talk about how big are these year's tax deed auctions. This is our biggest capture ever on Parcel Fair. I don't know if you tracked our progress, but last year we hit 50 states. And this year we've really focused on getting deeper into markets like Oklahoma that were kind of scattered, maybe smaller lists. And I think we're doing a good job so far. I think you're going to like what you see this year because we have a lot more auctions. When we look at our auctions, this is based on a 50 county sample where we're confident we have good data on the structures and the properties. 67% have structures, so that's 2/3. That's actually pretty high for first issue tax deeds. That's closer to what you see with tax liens, in fact. The estimated auction value, we had to again estimate this, but we think it's around 600 million initially advertised. Of course, that number goes down as redemptions occur before the auction, but the initial advertisement we estimate was around 600 million. The estimated taxes due about 30 million. So this is the revenue that the counties in the state are trying to recover from lost taxes, unpaid. The total number of tax deeds advertised, 6,352. And after redemptions so far, that actually breaks out a little different. 5,307. There we go. Sorry. And we can expect more redemptions before the June auctions happen, okay? That means these counts will go down. The property count will go down. This is a pretty small market if you think about it. 6,000, 5,000 parcels. And it's going to get even smaller. So that's just something to take into consideration. You only get a crack at this market once a year, and it's not the biggest one. Which counties have the most tax deeds available? I'm glad you asked because I have the answer. Oklahoma County up top. They advertised just over 1,400, but their remaining is about 1,100. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw attention to that second column there. Remaining, it's outlined in red. That's what's currently advertised, and literally these numbers went down today. I mean, we update for redemptions daily, sometimes multiple daily. I think today I watched Oklahoma County drop twice, where redemptions just took the number down. So we'll keep doing that between now and the sale. But if you do make a list, like a shopping list on our site, like a lot of you do, and things you're interested in buying, and then if you snooze for 2 weeks leading up to the auction and show up to the auction with that list, you're going to be a little disappointed because a lot of the properties in your list might have redeemed and likely have. I know it was, I think last year, it could have been 2 years ago, we heard from several of our brand new customers that people were showing up to like the Oklahoma County auction and they had lists with 1,200, 1,400 parcels on it ready to buy. And these customers sadly did not use Parcel Fair. They used other software that doesn't. I don't think our competitors even track redemptions. I'm not sure. I don't really pay attention to them. But from what I've heard, people that pick up our software, one of the biggest gripes about our competitors is that you get a list like Oklahoma County with 1,400 properties. You show up to the auction, there's only 200 that are actually still available. So it was a rough year. I think there were more bidders at the sale than there were properties because so many people didn't have Parcel Fair and had no idea that 80% of the list or more had redeemed. So that was unfortunate. Don't let that happen to you. I don't know if we'll get 80% redemption this year on some of these bigger counties, but I'd count on at least half of them redeeming. So it pays to track your redemptions. And we do that for you. We track redemptions for you. Other than that, on the screen, you can see kind of a breakout of total value, taxes owed, which counties are owed the most money, all that. I guess if your strategy depends on structures, for instance, you might want to look at this slide and see who has the largest percentage of structures. That way, you can make sure you pick a county like that. If you're vacant land person, pick the counties that have a lower structure percentage. Okay, we're going to go jump in and start looking at what's actually in these auctions and how to find them. So we're going to start off on this little site called oktaxrolls.com because this is where a good chunk of the list can be found. Not all of them, but quite a few. So they have this map of the state with the county name on it, and these are basically linking to the treasurer sites for the county. And you'll notice Oklahoma and Cleveland counties right off the bat do not have a link here. They're omitted. They have their own websites, and we'll get to those in a minute. So let's just, we'll just take the first one, Cimarron County up here at the top left. This is your typical OK Tax Rolls treasurer site. One thing they do well is they're kind of consistent. If you go to this little blue menu right here, and you can usually find something called resale. Remember we talked about that word in the intro? And then you see resale 2026. It'll be named something slightly different per county, but in general, you're looking for a resale list for this year. Don't get fooled into looking at the excess resale. That's something totally different. And that's from last year. Notice the 2025. But if we click on resale 2026, this is the kind of one of the many, many, many varieties of PDFs you might find. And what I mean by that is a lot of these counties just kind of did their own thing. Let me think of I think this is a county that has a different format, but they sort of just, yeah, so maybe whatever the person was feeling that day for their format, they would put it into a PDF. So there's no consistency between these two counties, at least. Some of them are more similar than others, but basically this is how they advertise parcels for auction. So what we've done in Parcel Fair is we've pulled all that into one place for you. That way you can see a beautiful map like this where everything is just highlighted, and we're going to show you how to search and filter, and we're just looking at all the counties right now that are available. But first, let's check out our auction calendar here on Parcel Fair. Oklahoma, we added a new filter for this year because we're tracking Oklahoma sheriff sales now, and you might not want to see sheriff sales when you're doing tax deed shopping. So this filter on the right where it says all auction types, we're looking at all types of auctions right now. But we can go down here to go to tax sales only and clear out a few of those out of our way. And we can see 52 auctions on the calendar. And just for reference, I got to brag for a second. Last year, we tracked the top 10 counties and then took requests and loaded anything you wanted by request and only had 7 requests roughly. So we only did 17 auctions last year. So I'm thrilled this year that we have found 52 so far, and we're still looking for more. A lot of those counties that use OK Tax Rolls have not even posted a list yet. And I'll just show you an example. So if we go back to OK Tax Rolls, and let's just go back to the beginning. County like this one, Beaver County. If you go in here, and they've not published it since I got here, but these links essentially don't go to anything close to what we need. They have not posted an auction here. So a couple possibilities there when we are missing an auction and we know the county exists and probably has some properties to sell. First possibility is they are skipping the year. I guess that's possible. We see that in states like Tennessee where counties will skip a year. It's also possible that they haven't released it yet. I guess that's always, we're checking this every day. So if it does release late, we'll get it. We've seen, actually over the past 2 weeks, we have seen newly released lists up until yesterday even. So it's possible that some of them are just late. It's also possible that they are so small and localized that they might only put it in like a local county newspaper. So we're going to look for those. If you run across one that's not, published on OK Tax Rolls or on our site, tell us about it. We'd be glad to go pull it in for you. You see all these auctions here, the blue and green buttons. You can either map these lists or list these lists, I guess. Let me rephrase that. You can either map the available properties or list the available properties. But if you get to the bottom of our list, you'll notice a few on the auction calendar that don't have those options. And there's a reason for that. If we click on an example here, you can still see that, it's the June 8th auction. Here's the source and here's the file. But if we go look at the file, basically we took these tax ID numbers and looked in every GIS system, public and private data, purchase data. These don't have they don't map to anything. So essentially there's no parcel ID because these tax IDs don't do anything. So we couldn't do much with the list for you except just give you a link to that list. And there's, let's see, 2, 4, 6, There's 8 of the auctions that have that problem. We'll do another example here. We still have links and registration and locations for these, so you're not totally on your own. But this list is a great example. When you look at this, uh, we have a name, a packet link. This number also does not map anything. It's not a parcel number, and an L and an I and a number at the end. So because of that, we just link you to the list because we could not put it on a map for you. It's not mappable from what we have learned or seen. Let's see if there are any other ones we can really show you. That one was a scanned PDF, which had a lot of errors in it. Here's a Word doc. So yeah, I'm just showing you the ones that we couldn't do much with. These did not map to anything. So again, we just have placeholders for them. Also worth noting, there's 2 auctions here, Cleveland and Rogers, both online. They're actually listed to close on June 9th. So subtle difference from the June 8th auctions. That's probably the biggest gripe I ever hear about Oklahoma is for in-person auctions, you have to go to one or bring your friends and go to a bunch if it would take, 52 of you to go to 52 different auctions. So, but now with some online auctions, you can place your bids in advance and not even be there. So those 2 on June 9th, Cleveland and Rogers are examples. Texas County up here, right in the middle of the thick of it here, it's also advertised over on GovEase, and we'll link you over to that so you can go see what they have. And so GovEase, I mean, you may not be familiar with GovEase. I just assume people are because they handle a lot of states. If you look at their drop down here, but it's a pretty standard site. You can click on these and place your bids once the bidding opens, and you would need to register before you do that. But they've got videos and stuff to help you out if you want to bid on their website. Other than that, you're going to be going to in-person auctions. As I mentioned, a lot of these are going to be OK tax rolls, and if you want to get to those, you can go to the source or the list just like that. And so this is an example of one of the lists that's yet another format that we put in the website for you so you can go view it without having to look up each property one at a time. So on that note, let's cut over to the map and just take a look. This is the 6,352 initially advertised parcels. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out those redemptions. I had a special filter set just to show you that. I'm going to do not include unavailable properties. And so now we're going to repaint the map. All those red dots are gone because those were our redemptions. All right, so 5,300 parcels. If we want to really get the benefits of Parcel Fair and just technology in general, I want to filter the entire state all at once. And so I'm going to leave all counties selected, upcoming auctions, which means any of these upcoming auctions. And I'm going to immediately go to improvements. That's my easiest filter. If I just want improved property, I'm going to do that. Now there's 3,500 roughly available. If I want vacant land, I'll switch over and do that. And while I'm on vacant land, let's go down this acreage box here. Let's do a minimum of 50 acres and see where that gets us. 23 parcels. So click go on that. So out of the 6,000 parcels, we're down to 23 that have 50 acres or more. So that's a pretty big time savings right there if you're looking for large land. And we can switch over. I'm on the high contrast map view on the top left. I can switch over to satellite, get a better helicopter view of what's going on here. And looking at these properties, I would expect a lot of agricultural type properties, and it's kind of what I'm seeing here. These are scattered across multiple counties. So what we can do, if I want to go see like what counties are these in, and this maybe not on a map because it's not so helpful, I'm going to go to this blue button on the right and view results as a list. So now I've got them all in one place. I can see the county name right here. I can sort by the county. These column headings are sortable, by the way. And I can sort by the amount due if I want to see the most expensive opening bid, the cheapest. And so that's kind of how you might like scan across the state. Now, I mentioned earlier you might be doing a shopping list. So if you're doing a shopping list, these 23 parcels, let's say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to bid on these 50 and nothing else. If I click Save Results as a list right here, what I can do is create a new list and Oklahoma Shopping List 2026. Save that. Now what I've built is a list across all the counties in Oklahoma with these 23 properties, sorry. And now I can work the list. I can, if I see some things, I see Living Trust here, maybe I want to take those out if I don't want to deal with, I don't know why I wouldn't, but I can sit here and curate my list, prune it, trim it up, and save it for later. And one of the coolest things, I don't talk about this enough, but if we go back and let's pull those redemptions back in. So I'm going to save results as a list again. If you select the list you've already made, it's just going to add to it. You don't have to create a new one. So I'm going to add to that same list I was already working. Now we're back up to 25 parcels again. And since I put a couple redemptions in there, you can see, oh, there's two here that are unavailable. I could click the red X on these and knock them out of my list if I don't want to see them. But there's a shortcut for that. What if your list is 1,000 properties and there's 600 redemptions? You don't want to click 600 red X's. So what you're going to do, go to list options here and just do remove unavailable parcels. And the page comes back with our unavailable parcels have been weeded out for us. So split second saved us a bunch of time. So this is some of the things we show people to try to help them work a state really fast. A state like Oklahoma, you could logically get through all 6,000 parcels by hand, in a few weeks. It'd take a lot of work. Maybe you have to pick a few counties to focus on. But when you get to bigger states like Florida's got over 500,000 liens right now at auction, or Mississippi that runs over 100,000 at a time, Alabama, some of these big states, you need power tools to be able to compete at these auctions. Otherwise, someone's going to eat your lunch at the auction. I'll just be blunt. Someone's going to have more time on the right properties and less time wasted on the wrong properties. And they're going to be ready to bid on the right ones. Okay, so let's work a different strategy with our search filters here. First of all, I'm going to go narrow in on Oklahoma County only. And that's the largest one. I'm going to do improvements only. One thing is interesting. I do have OTCs in the mix here. I'm going to take those out by clicking on upcoming auctions only. And so improvements, upcoming auctions only. Now let's think about what if I want to make sure the value of the property is decent enough for making it worth my while. I'm going to put a $30,000 county appraisal minimum. Now minimum, I don't have to specify a max, but that's going to take out anything below that. Amount due is the opening bid at the auction. That's the amount of taxes due. Let's say I don't want to I think in a tax deed auction, maybe I want to max it like, let's try like $2,000. Maybe a little bit low. Yeah, that's too low. Let's put our max at $5,000. And there's 392 parcels. So what I've done is I've taken, and I'm looking at only parcels with houses that have a opening bid at $5,000 or less. And here we are. I'm going to switch over to satellite view and zoom in on some of these because now I'm scanning for rooftops. You can switch back to that map view and see building outlines, that little gray outline from Google. So it's good. I spent a lot of time just toggling back and forth between this satellite view and the high contrast view. High contrast is usually if I'm looking for building outlines, like something like this, and then satellite. Maybe I get an idea of what's the roof look like, what do the neighbors look like. So let's click on this property. We're going to go to it. All right, and we're going to work one of these property reports. The idea in Parcel Fair is you go wide and deep. Let's just say it that way. You go wide in the fact that we can search across the whole state or across a whole county, and we're going to filter it down using as much of that kind of power tool mentality as we can to weed out stuff I don't want to see. I'm taking out vacant land. I'm looking at improvements only, or vice versa, or the opening bid, or the value of the property. And then I'm going to dig into the ones that survive my filter cut. And whatever is left behind the cut are the ones I'm going to spend some time on. So let's spend some time on this one. We can see off a bat opening bid of $1,500, not bad. The estimated value here is $68,500 by the county appraisal. So that's what we think. The county says the property's worth. But if we were to fix this property up, there's a term in real estate called ARV. It's the after repair value. After we repair the house, this is the value. We're doing some real-time computation here on the fly to find out that we think the ARV of the property is about $85,000 if you were to fix it up. And how do we do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. We view our sales comps right here. We use these comps in real time to go figure out what is sold recently and how does it relate to this property so we can find those comparable sales and predict what we think you could sell this house for. So the green property in the top row is our subject property. Everything below it are comparable sales. And I won't go through this table with you for too long. I do this in a lot of our videos, but basically this table helps you compare which properties are similar, and there's a match column on the right that gives you a percentage match so you know which comp should carry more weight. If you want to go work on this on your own, there's actually an export to CSV button right here that will just put this table into a spreadsheet so you can go play with it through your own formulas and do it yourself. But our estimate is 85,000. Our estimated rent is 920 a month. How did we come up with that? Same thing. We have a rental property report or rental comps just below the other one. This is all on the same page, by the way. It's all the same report, but just different sections, different panels here. So when we're looking at this one, we can see other properties in the area, what they rent for, and how they compare because we're looking at comparables. So far so good. I mean, we have rental potential, we have decent value. If we can keep our opening our winning bid in a reasonable range, this could have legs. I think I'm going to lean more on the ARV than the estimated value, just because county appraisals tend to run low. But maybe I'll split the difference in between 68.5 and 85 grand, somewhere in the middle. I'll say, let's just call it, 75 or something. And let's just say 75 is what I would expect to get this property if I were able to fix it up a little bit. So, you're working backwards from that number to go figure out what's my repair rehab budget. Do I need to do much to this house? Am I going to look at it and maybe drive there and take a look and see? I recommend not trespassing. Don't go on the property, but you can get a good view from the street without disturbing anybody there. Um, the other thing to consider here would, of course, be what is my max bid, basically. If I were to buy this for 20 grand, would I be happy? In other words, what about 10 grand? What about 15? So when you go into an auction like this, especially the in-person auctions, it really pays to have a number in advance of what you're willing to pay when you have rational, unrushed, unemotional thought versus off the fly decision making right off the cusp when you're trying to decide in the moment whether I want to keep bidding on a property. So in-person auctions, that's some great advice. While we're talking about in-person auctions, some of these auctions like Oklahoma County could go into 2 or 3 days. And I recommend you make room for that on your travel schedule, because if you can make it to day two, not guaranteed, but in general, there's better deals on day two than day one because fewer people show up and there's less competition. Same story with day three. People just run out of money, or maybe they get frustrated and leave because day one was more competitive than they expected. But hang in there. Hang in there till the auction ends if you can. And some of the best deals I've ever seen are picked up at the end of the auction. And anything left over, of course, goes over the counter. So don't let it go over the counter. Buy it for face value or something. While we're in Oklahoma County, let's do a couple more things. They did not use OK tax rolls for their advertisement for the auction. So we're going to click on our purchase options here. Every county, every property in our system is going to have a button for purchase options. And that tells you where, when, and how to buy. So we have a link to register for the auction, a link to the source, and a link to the list. Let's jump over to that list. And this is updating right here in real time. So this is an interesting, kind of an older looking website, but it sits here and refreshes every minute or so. So, you can use this to see if you want to click over the properties. They do link to different places, property cards and stuff. We actually have all those links here too, so you don't have to click that. You can go on the right side to our research links panel and click on the property card. That's the same property card that they link to on that other site. The GIS map, it goes to the same place. The taxes owed screen, the treasurer report, all of these links that are available in the list here, we've recreated those links over here for you as well. So save you a little more time. You don't have to click over and go find those links. You just go straight from our website. And there's more research links here that could be useful to you. You can do like a Zillow property report and go see for this address, what does Zillow think about the house? And they're going to have an opinion too. So let's see. Yeah, I mean, you could probably spend a lot of time on the research links and just when you're digging into a property. The last thing I'll show you on this particular screen is the Open Panorama View button. This lets us take a look at the neighborhood, get an idea of what's going on here. We can zoom in, check out the roof, get an idea of the repairs. I can't stress this enough. This is an older photo. It's not real time. We don't have a camera sitting right there right now. That's why you want to go check it out yourself or send a scout to make sure that house is still there. So that's, yeah, I should just repeat that, but I'll just, I actually do repeat that in about every video. So, and lastly, if you are using these organizational tools here in Parcel Fair, you can always add this to your list, just one property at a time. I can put it in my Oklahoma shopping list, and there it is. I can take it out by clicking the red X. I can add notes to it if I want to save notes for later for my team or for myself. And if I get photographs, I can go attach those too. Keep the photographs on here for myself for the future. Future me will appreciate having my documents and photos in one place. Okay, so we've covered Oklahoma County. I'm going to switch gears and go to Tulsa County. Now, what's cool is we already have our search filters set. I'm gonna click on Tulsa and they just carry right over. Okay. So 30 grand, county appraisal, $5,000 Mountain Due. And that took us down from about 1,100 properties to 367. And I can just apply that consistent search criteria to any county I go to just to save me some time. So on that note, let's click the first one I see. Not even sure what we're going to see here. Here is a Tulsa house in the auction. I won't, make you go through all that stuff we did again, but I'll show you $47,000 county valuation, but 163 ARV. So somewhere in the middle lies the truth. And probably the biggest difference to call out to you, besides the research links, are going to go to a different website here. So different website, when you click on these research links, it changes by county. Okay. So make sure if you're in Tulsa now, it's different links to the county. But also this purchase options, the shopping cart, when we click on that button, different information here too. We have a different auction source and we have a different advertised list. This is Tulsa's website because they did not use OK Tax Rolls either. They use their own custom website, so you get it from a different place. Okay, so let's go check out a county that's not Tulsa or Oklahoma County. And let me refresh my memory here. Comanche is a good one to do because this is the largest county that uses OK Tax Rolls. I'm gonna clear my filters out, even though we could just go do the same filters here. We're just gonna look at everything and throw everything on the map. So yeah, let's go to high contrast. Let's hope we have a city in here, and you can kind of helicopter around and see this house is near a school, for instance. This house is near a hospital over here. I saw somewhere a hospital. But anyways, I don't know your strategy. I'm just kind of throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks for you. But let's click on a property and let's take a look at this one. Okay, so if I hit panorama view, I think I chose a vacant lot, it looks like, which is fine. It's not a problem. It looks like they got bulldozed. So the values are going to be, looks like the county has not updated them yet, but probably not a great deal for 8 grand as an opening bid. So I'm going to pass on that one. And let me go, I should have used my filters and saved a little bit of time here. So Comanche, let's go ahead and add our improvements filter. That took it down to 162. We'll give it $30,000 minimum on county appraisal here. 87 parcels, and that's good enough. Let's go with that. And by the way, on the right side, you actually have these little previews of the property you can check out. And so if I click on something like that, that saved me a little bit of time there. So we're looking at this house, not bad. $43,000 value, 85,000 ARV, $3,000 opening bid. Much of this is the same as what you've seen in other counties, but the purchase options will be different. The auction source is going to take us to the OK Tax Rolls Comanche site where you can find lists and a couple other things. And of course, if we click advertise list, it will open the source PDF where we found this property. So all that reference for you if you ever want to go double check things or if you're trying to do some homework and research your properties, that can be helpful. Okay, so I think that's so we've covered OK Tax Rolls, we've covered Govies, we covered the two other sites. So yeah, this is what we're looking at this year. I think we may see a few more late releases. We'll keep an eye on that every day for you. Of course, we're going to keep an eye on those redemptions too and keep subtracting properties as they redeem. If one of these counties happens to add some late properties, like append it to their list, we'll get that too, of course. So keep an eye on that. We'll be tracking that for you. While you're here on Parcel Fair, the 101 training is a great way to get video help on the features of the website. We have 4 of them this year. We've been doing them every month since February. The next one's in June. Click here to sign up for it if you want to attend live, or you can just wait for the video. But the May 12th one right here, just from last week, you can check it out right now. And you don't have to join live if you don't want to. There's also links to the YouTube community under the Connect menu. Our Facebook group has a couple thousand customer investors in there who just brilliant people in the tax markets nationwide. They can help you out with questions. They can give you referrals to attorneys and property managers and whatnot. And of course, you can post deals there or shop deals if people have deeds or liens they're trying to flip. It's a great place to network. I don't know anything like it on the internet anywhere where you can meet so many tax investors in one place and just it's kind of like a meeting of the minds. It's a big group. And then of course here are the tools. We have the map and the list search, auction calendar, anything you need in these menus right here, all in one place. So I hope this was helpful in your preparation for Oklahoma. Give us some ideas for other videos. Again, we're taking that road trip across the country this summer and just hitting, we'll make some new postcards and some new videos based on the markets we're going to hit up. So give us your ideas and uh, make sure you subscribe to this channel if you want to get notified when new content comes out. It's very useful. If you want to get the jump on some of these videos because they are timely, these things have a shelf life when the auctions pass or when the OTCs go away. And like the video if you like it, so we'll know to make more videos like it. So again, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.